This session will introduce online research profiles and explore some of the ways using online research profiles can benefit you as a researcher. In this video, we'll introduce some of the research profiles you should be aware of and give recommendations on how to engage with them. We'll be discussing research-specific profiles, some more social platforms, and the research information system we have here at Essex. But first, why do we care about online research profiles? Managing your research profiles allows you to take control of your online identity. It's also important to remember that you may have some online research profiles without ever having created them. It's even more important for you to interact with these profiles to ensure that you're in control. Online research profiles can also be a great way to share research or ideas and network with others in and outside of your research field. Through using research profiles, you can also learn about events or developments in your research area and keep up to date with emerging trends and themes. There are several different research profiles, and all the large research databases have researcher profiles. The level of control you have over your own profile varies across these databases, but the profiles enable your publications to be linked to you as a researcher. We're going to have a look at some of the different databases and how they vary. Google Scholar is the largest online database of scholarly academic work and is the most used academic database. This means it can be really helpful for increasing the visibility of your work if you have a Google Scholar profile. When using Google Scholar, it's important to remember that this database wasn't created for science or academia, it is a business. Google Scholar has a lot of filters built into it. Some of these filters are helpful for your academic searches, but Google also uses algorithms to display results it thinks you want to see. This can affect the results that you get. If you want to make use of a Google Scholar profile, you have to create that profile. At Essex, we recommend all researchers have a Google Scholar profile. Once you have this profile, Google Scholar will attempt to add your publications, but you can also add publications manually if they are not there. You can also remove publications that have been incorrectly attributed to yourself. If there are any mistakes or errors with your profile, you have to correct these yourself. Because of this, it's important to remember to monitor your profile once you have created it to ensure the information remains accurate. While we recommend that all Essex researchers have a Google Scholar profile, there are some limitations. For example, while some databases talk to other databases, such as our research information system, Google Scholar doesn't. While you can download information from Google Scholar and upload it elsewhere, this information won't be live. As we mentioned, Google Scholar also uses algorithms, and it's not always clear exactly how these work. Because of this, Google Scholar isn't entirely transparent. Google Scholar has also been known to index items that aren't necessarily research outputs. This has led to examples of Google Scholar citation counts being gamed. While the algorithm for this has been updated in response to these scenarios, it's still something to keep in mind. It's also important to remember that as Google Scholar is the largest academic database, when you look at citations in Google Scholar, they are always going to be higher than other databases. However, Google Scholar includes grey literature and citations from public-facing services, so it's not directly comparable to other research databases. Google Scholar can also show duplicates of citations, which again causes the numbers to be higher. ORCID is another online research profile, and it is a requirement at the University of Essex for the REF and for many funding grants. ORCID stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID. Your ORCID profile becomes almost like an online CV, as you can add much more than publications. This includes employment history, professional qualifications, and more. It's very helpful for your development as a researcher and for future employability. ORCID is used in a lot of different places, including grant applications, research assessment, the REF, and journal submissions. Once you have set up an ORCID, that's it. Please don't set up more than one. You should have one unique ORCID, which will be a 16-digit number. Scopus is the largest database of peer-reviewed literature, and the database is mainly curated by a team of people. Scopus is one of the main databases used for research assessment, as the Times World University Rankings use Scopus citations for their rankings data. You cannot create a Scopus profile yourself, as once a publication you have authored has been indexed in Scopus, a profile is created for you. Scopus is linked to SciVal, and you can use this tool to analyse citation data. You can and should link your Scopus profile to your ORCID profile. ORCID can then get information from Scopus. Scopus, however, doesn't get information from ORCID. If there are any problems with your Scopus profile, we can correct these for you. As mentioned, Scopus is mainly curated by a team of people. Journals are indexed within Scopus on a journal level, whilst monographs are indexed on a publisher level. This means that if you see anything missing from your Scopus profile, it's important to check first whether the publisher or journal is indexed. If they are, we can request for the missing document to be added. This also means that if a journal you have published in, or a publisher you have published a monograph or chapter with, isn't indexed by Scopus, it won't be on your Scopus profile. Additionally, it won't be counted in research assessment by the Times World University rankings. This is a limitation of Scopus, as the data is somewhat limited. Criteria for indexing can be quite strict, and they don't always match with all subject areas. For example, if disciplines have less frequent publications, they may not be as successfully represented in Scopus. Scopus also currently doesn't index preprints or datasets. It's also important to know that Scopus affiliation isn't always representative of where you work. It will be the affiliation of your most recent publication. This makes it important that your affiliations on papers are correct. Web of Science is an online database of peer-reviewed literature similar to Scopus. It operates in a similar way by creating a profile for you. Web of Science is linked with Insights to analyse citations, like Scopus is linked to SciVal. At Essex, we don't have a full institutional subscription to Insights, making it difficult to analyse citations on this database. Once a publication you have authored has been indexed in Web of Science, you will have a Web of Science profile. To establish a researcher ID, however, you need to create this yourself after you have a Web of Science profile. Like with a Scopus author ID, you can link your researcher ID to ORCID. Publons is also now linked with Web of Science. If you would like a Publons profile, you have to create this yourself. Web of Science has similar limitations to Scopus. Web of Science only counts citations from within its own database, and coverage can be limited. This is especially true in certain subject areas, most notably in the arts and humanities. As many processes and ways of working have moved to the online world, social networking platforms are increasingly used for professional activities as well as a way to keep in touch with friends and family. In professional terms, with many conferences moving online, this has grown even further. We're going to introduce a few different social platforms, but it's important to use the platform where your network is and the platform you feel comfortable with. Academia.edu is an online networking platform for researchers. It's used for networking and sharing publications between researchers. There are lots of mixed messages about Academia.edu, ranging from uploading papers to the site helping to boost citations to criticisms about its business model. ResearchGate is a similar platform, and again this has been met with mixed reactions. What's important to remember is that both Academia.edu and ResearchGate are ultimately businesses. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be used, but keep this in mind. Sharing papers via these platforms can be a great way to increase the reach of your research, but make sure to check that you can share them. By this, we mean you need to ensure that you have the right to do so. If you have published your work in a subscription journal and no longer own the copyright, it's likely you won't be able to upload your paper to these kind of social platforms. Tools such as Sherpa Romeo are great for checking if you can share your work in this way. Twitter is a social media platform that can be used by anyone, but increasingly researchers tend to use this platform to connect with others. Twitter can be useful for sharing links directly to the published version of your work or to an open access version. You can use these tweets to encourage people to read your work. You'll also be able to find new research papers to read as others share their work. This can also lead you to connect with other researchers across the country and around the world. You can also use Twitter to learn about events happening in your field, such as conferences and training events. An important thing about Twitter is to make sure you're following the right people. It will take some time to get familiar with who are helpful people to follow and who aren't, but Twitter can become a really helpful online platform for researchers. Remember though that anyone can use Twitter, so you may experience some heckling or some people trying to get you involved in controversial discussions. Make sure not to engage with this kind of thing, and remember you can block and/or unfollow accounts whenever you like. The Research Information System, or the RIS, is the system used at Essex for looking after everything academics are engaging in. The RIS is only relevant to people on academic contracts, not PGRs. If you're REF eligible, it is used for all aspects of our REF submission. The RIS holds a large amount of information. It automatically searches for publications from Web of Science, Scopus, ORCID profiles, and more. The RIS also pulls together grants that Essex researchers receive, teaching activities, supervision details, and more. The RIS feeds researchers' external web profiles, Essex web profiles, and RIS profiles. It's also used for REF submission, and if you are REF eligible, you must do research monitoring every 12 months. Within the RIS, you can do fairly simple name-based searches, but if you have a common name, this can be quite problematic. A way around this is to engage with the online research profiles we've spoken about previously, as you can tell the RIS about your different researcher IDs. ORCID, Scopus ID, and Researcher ID are the main researcher IDs used for this. These IDs help to differentiate you from others with similar names to yourself, making it clear to the system which publications are attributed to you. It also means that when you start at Essex from another institution, you can pull information from other platforms. Using profiles in the RIS can also be really helpful. For example, the system collects information from other places so you can see citation metrics, ranking information for journals, altmetrics, and more. Altmetrics indexes alternative interactions such as social media mentions, blog mentions, news stories, and more. Engaging with these metrics helps you to get a better picture of yourself and others as researchers. Thank you for watching this video on online research profiles. If you have any questions at all, please do get in touch. You can contact our research support team within the Library and Cultural Services via resup@essex.ac.uk or with our Research Information System team within the Research and Enterprise Office via resource@essex.ac.uk.